Hello YouTubers, my name is Bodot. Today I would like to talk to you about getting a STV or a special tourist visa for Thailand, which lets you stay in Thailand for 90 days. In this video I will go through it with you step by step on how you can apply, what you need, all the hurdles that you're going to come across. So, you wish to stay in Thailand for the special tourist visa for 90 days. There is plenty of information on the website concerning this, and I'm going to read directly from the website because I don't have all the information directly in my head, but I do have my phone over there, and I shall read directly from my little teleprompter, and then we can give you the right information right from the start. Special tourist visa, single entry only. That means you can't, if you leave the country, then your visa is over. You can't come back in and use the same visa. You can apply for a multi-entry visa, but then that would not be a special tourist stay visa. I hope that's clear. The type of issue issued to applicants who wish to enter Thailand for tourist purposes. STV visa holders will initially be permitted to stay in Thailand for up to 90 days, including quarantine period. As it stands from April this year, the quarantine has been reduced from 14 days to 10 days, and people who have already been vaccinated to 7 days, which is better than sitting here for 14 days. You're only going to sit in quarantine for 10 days. Next, the extension of stay can be requested at the Immigration Bureau in Thailand and up to 2 times at the maximum of 90 days per extension. Which means, for example, if you wanted to stay longer, in theory, you can just go and apply at the immigration and get another visa for another 90 days. And then after that, another 90 days. But this visa scheme actually runs out in September. Whether they're going to renew it or how they're going to renew it or what they're going to do is still up in the air. So you have to bear that in mind if you come here under this visa circumstance. Let's say, for example, if you came in June, you'd only be able to renew it once, as it is at the moment. But the visa requirements are being changed by the Thai government because obviously they want more people coming and visit the country because there's no tourists at the moment. So you need to be able to look at the news on a day-to-day basis or check the Thai embassy on a weekly basis every couple of days to see what sort of new regulations there are. The maximum stay in total, therefore, shall not exceed 270 days, including the quarantine period, and shall not exceed the 30th of September 2021, which is the current end date of the STV scheme. This is what I've just explained to you. This is what it is at this time. This could actually change rapidly in a few minutes, and a few days, and a few weeks. The Thai government, when they make their plan on something, they tend to change it extremely quickly. So, as I say, you've got to keep informed with the news and the embassy stuff. Right, we're going to move on to what are the requirements, and this is where it gets complicated. Eligibility. Firstly, the applicant must not be a person prohibited for entering the kingdom as provided by the Immigration Act BE 2522 from 1979. What that means is, basically, if you've been here before and you've been deported, you're not really going to be welcome, so I wouldn't bother trying, because they won't let you in. That's basically it. if you've been deported, they won't let you in. Applicant must have no criminal records in Thailand and the country of applicant's national of residence. That means obviously what I just said, no criminal record in Thailand, and also in your home country. You need to be a normal citizen. You can't just come out of jail, for example, and go, right, I'm going to Thailand on holiday, because you will not be accepted. Applicants must have the national of permit resident in the country where application is submitted. That means that if, for example, like myself, I come from the Netherlands, I needed to have a residency document that allowed me to stay in the Netherlands. That's what you will need for your visa application to the embassy. But if you're in a country and you're a citizen there by birth or whatever, then it's not a problem. You're just going to need your passport. Okay. 4. This has to do a little bit with health. Applications must not have prohibited diseases, leprosy, tuberculosis, drug addiction, elephantitis, third phase of syphilis, as indicated in the Ministry of Regulation number 14 BE 2535. We'll cover that a little bit further, because later you need to get a medical certificate, but we'll discuss that a little bit further down the line when we get to it. Applicants must have health insurance covered by length of stay in Thailand with no less than 400,000 baht coverage for outpatient treatment and no less than 400,000 baht for inpatient treatment. Must be specially mentioned. Applicant must consider buying a Thai health insurance on long stay. Applicant must have health insurance covering medical expenses in Thailand with a minimum coverage of 100,000 US dollars for COVID-19. That must also be specifically mentioned. The applicant is prohibited from engaging in any employment in Thailand. Okay, let's go through the medical insurance. It's quite possible that your own country insurance companies won't insure you for this, especially if the government of your country has decided that Thailand is a COVID risk country, whether it be red or orange, because then by law the insurance companies don't have to cover you for this. What I did for my medical insurance, I just went on the internet, I googled it and said COVID-19 insurance for Thailand, and there were many results. I ended up using Tune, but that was because that was probably the first one that I came across that I could fully understand what it is that I needed to do. So I did manage to use Tune, and that's how I found it. But it must state absolutely on the insurance form that you are covered for 40,000 baht for outpatients and 400,000 baht for inpatients, and also that you are covered for 100,000 US dollars for COVID-19, because you might have to stay in hospital for a few weeks or a month or whatever, depending on your own personal medical situation. Required documents next. This is a whole list of things that you need to do. Right. Passport valid of not less than 12 months. Basically, your expiry date on your passport has to be longer than 12 months. 2 copies of complete visa application form. I have no idea why they want 2, because they're both going to the same place, but your visa applications have to be done twice, and when you hand it in, maybe one goes to one department, one goes to another department, but yeah, you need to have 2. A confirmed round-trip flight reservation or ticket. That's basically you need confirmation from the time that you wish to leave Thailand enter Thailand, sorry, and when you wish to leave. They'll be looking very clearly into that. Now this is where it gets a little bit complicated. You're going to need to get an English extract from the Registry of Population. Verification shall be valid for no more than 3 months and must be legalised by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. That's basically they need something from your city hall or your government, wherever, that says that you're registered at your house, and this is where you live, and that's where you pay your taxes and things like this. Second thing, extremely important, certificate of good conduct issued by the competent authority, country of his or her nationality or residence, stating that the applicant has no criminal record. The certificate shall be valid for no more than 3 months and must be legalised by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. A medical certificate issued for the country where the applicant is submitted, showing no prohibited diseases as indicated by the Ministry of Regulation number 14BE2 535. That goes back to what we were saying earlier on with the diseases like tuberculosis and etc. Medical health insurance we've already gone through, covering medical expenses for $100,000 US for COVID and 400,000 inpatient and for 400,000 outpatient. I will at this point say that for certificate of good conduct, and for your registry, from your extract from the Registry of Population, and also your medical insurance, all three of these need to be stamped and legalised by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. So these are the first 3 documents that you really need to get hold of. And as you're dealing with Registry of Population and the Certificate of Good Conduct, which you'll probably get from your civil servant, your town hall, your city hall, or wherever, I would suggest you get onto those first, because those can take up to 2 months, at least 2 months, to get the documents and also to get them legalised, depending on where you actually live in your country. If you're in a big city, it shouldn't be that much of a problem, but if you live out in the country and you have to send documents away and wait for replies and things like this, this can take weeks. Really, this can take weeks. In my case, to get all these documents together, get them legalised and get everything to the embassy, and to get my visa and all the other bits and pieces that I needed, took me from start to finish about 2.5 months. So you have, if you're planning on going to Thailand next week or in the next 2 weeks and you don't have any of these documents, the chances are you are not going to be able to get all the documents collected and ready in time. But we'll talk about that a little bit further as we go down the line. Okay, next you need proof of payment, paid in full for your quarantine hotel. That I would do after you've managed to get all your other documents. And yeah, that can be quite expensive, but yeah, it is what it is. You can't really do anything about that. And also proof of payment, paid in full for the accommodation in Thailand for the whole period intending to stay, within the initial period of 90 days, or proof of ownership of a condominium in Thailand. What I did was I booked a very cheap hotel for the rest of my stay out after quarantine, which was originally 64 days, but then now they've reduced it, it's going to be 68 days as a base address. That doesn't mean you have to stay there. That just means that is your address, or if you have a condominium, or whether you're staying with family or whether you're staying with friends or whatever, then you need to be able to give an address where you're going to be there as your permanent address for your whole stay in Thailand. It says here also, to take into consideration, the consulate officers reserve the right to request additional documents as deemed necessary. And that could mean pretty much anything. But one thing I did see from them that they did ask for is that it's not actually on this list. It is about your financial situation. They need to know that when you're in Thailand, you're going to be able to support yourself or your family if you come with your family, or whether you're coming here to be with friends and they are going to be your guarantee, because that actually states on part of the application that who is going to be your guarantor. If you're coming here to travel around the country and see the sights and you don't know anybody here, obviously you're going to be your own guarantee. If that's the case, they're going to want to see that you have the funds to stay in Thailand and to be able to support yourself. They're going to require that you have at least 15,000 US dollars on your bank account at time of application for your visa. That's going to be very clear. They're going to ask you for a bank statement, and you're going to have to provide them with a bank statement stating that you have finances of over 15,000 US dollars. Okay, the visa for a single entry is going to cost roughly around about, I don't know, $80 or something like that. The validity of the visa, single entry visa, valid for 3 months from the date of issue. So it's not the date of when you leave, it's the date of when it was issued. So for example, if you get the visa today and you're not traveling until Saturday, then 5 days of time of the visa has been gone. So please bear that in mind, that the visa is going to be valid from the date of issue, not from the date of departure. Period of stay. Upon arrival, holders of the valid STV visa will initially permit to stay in Thailand for a period of not exceeding 90 days. This is what we've already been through. This is your first 90-day visa. Extension of stay. STV visa holders who wish to stay longer must fill an application for permission at the Office of Immigration Bureau. The extension of stay up to 2 times with a maximum of 90 days per each extension, but will not exceed the 30th of September 2021. Is solely at the discretion of the Immigration Bureau. It shouldn't really be that much of a problem if you're just being a tourist and you're going about your business and you're enjoying yourself here and you're not causing any problems. Getting an extension to the visa should be reasonably simple. That pretty much covers all of what your requirements are from the first stage. That's just to apply for the visa. Then they have something else which is called the Certificate of Entry, which is for short COE. This you can only apply for once you have the visa. It goes via a website, which is then dealt with by the embassy from your country. So the embassy still does it, but they don't do it directly. That comes from a Thai government website here in Thailand that you have to then fill in. And it pretty much has all the information that you've already given to the embassy for your original visa. So you're not required to get any more documentation than what you've already handed to the embassy already for your original STV visa. The only thing that you will need to do is there are a few extra things. For example, you need to have a COVID test 72 hours before you leave. And there was a fit to fly certificate that you needed, but the Thai government has scrapped that at the moment. They say that's no longer required. But then some airlines actually do require it. So you're going to have to find out from the airline whether you require a fit to fly or not. Personally, I got one because it's better to have it and not need it rather than not have it and need it. So I got one anyway, and it was lucky that I did because the airline that I used actually asked for it. So I was pretty fortunate in that respect. But apart from that, it takes time, and you have to allow yourself time to do this because you're dealing with several different government agencies and an embassy as well. I don't know how efficient your government agencies are with supplying you with the documents that they require you to do. But what I can say, and I say this from my heart, that I called several times the embassy because I didn't really understand some of the paperwork, and they couldn't be more gentle, more helpful, more understanding, and they guided me and they told me exactly what I needed and exactly how long it was going to take. For example, once you have all the documents and you've handed in all your documents to the embassy, it takes between 5 to 10 days for the visa, and it's about the same for the COV, the certificate of entry. You're going to need to allow a minimum of 5 days for each, the visa and the COE. So that's going to take you about 10 days just to get those final steps. And then also you're going to need another medical certificate that you fill in for yourself when you actually get into Thailand. But I can talk about that on my next installment because this is going to be one of 3. The first one is, of course, getting the visa application and the COE. The second one will be check-in at the airport, flights, what occurred the other side when I actually got to Thailand, because that's also quite interesting, and that was also a lot of paperwork and a lot of time consuming. And then part 3 will be about the quarantine hotel. Well, I hope you enjoyed listening to this because it is a very complicated situation, and I will be putting all the links from this, the application forms, what your requirements are for your insurance, just to give you some idea of what you need to do. Okay, you don't have to use the company that I use. There are many insurance companies that you can use. There is a link on the Thai website, the Thai embassy website itself, giving you links to all these different insurance companies. So there are plenty in Thailand to deal with. But if you're going to try to use a company in your own country, I would advise that you make sure that your insurance is going to specifically say $100,000 COVID insurance, 40,000 euros outpatients, and 400,000 inpatients. Because without those saying specifically on the insurance documents, you will not get your visa. Thanks for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in part 2. Don't forget to subscribe, ring the notification bell, give a thumbs up, and if you like what you hear, or I've left something out or something wasn't correct, then please leave me a comment and I'll adjust the blog. Thank you very much and have a good day.